Today we are at the fantastic Lindholme lakes. The sun is shining, there are fish topping everywhere, so I'm hoping we're going to catch a few carp. There are F1's in here as well. I have got the pole gear with me and I've also got the feeder set up as well. So today I'm going to be fishing several different methods and I can't wait to get going. Well, as you can see, I've got an island to fish to. Now that island is about 18 metres away, so I'm going to be fishing with a small pellet feeder tight to that island, and that's how I'm going to kick off the session. I'm then going to be feeding a line at 6 metres where I'm going to fish the pole with hard pellet, and I'm going to build that line up whilst I'm fishing the feeder line. And then after that, I'm then going to move my attentions to these margins. I can fish left and right, and on those lines I'm going to be fishing hard pellet and corn. So I'm going to kick off on the pellet feeder, see if we can catch some carp, F1's, whilst I'm building up that pole line. Now the pellet feeder that I'm going to be using is the smallest one that I've got in the box, to be fair. It's only 15 gram, that's all I need, because I'm only going to be fishing about 18 metres up tight to that island. Free running rig, as you can see, that's free running, so that complies with fishery rules. A nice 4-inch hook length to a band, so I can fish a nice hard pellet, and that's a size 16 hook, but because that's a band I can also switch to a grain of corn as well. So I'm going to kick off on the pellet feeder. I'll talk you through the pole rigs when I go onto those lines. But all I'm going to feed on that 6 metre line is 6mm pellets. So I'm just going to loose feed them by hand, and I can slowly build that up while I'm fishing the pole line. One thing I don't want to do on that line is I don't want to feed it too regular, because I don't want the fish up in the water. I want to try and catch them on the deck. So this is only about 18 metres wide here. All I've got is micro pellets and a 6mm hard banded pellet on the hook or on the hair. And because I didn't really know I was going to be fishing this lake today, and because this is only 18 metres, the best way of me getting out there is just a nice simple underarm cast, because this is an 11-foot rod, which is a little bit too long for this sort of fishing, but just underarm and it'll still get me there nice and accurately. I have got it clipped up, so I'm just going to go to the point to the left hand side of that island, but also on this same clip I can actually go to the right hand edge of the island as well, so I can actually effectively have two swims going over there. But I'm going to start just there, just about where that duck's coming into the shot now, just to where that shade is. I'm going to kick off there and just see how it goes. Pellet feeders, just like method feeder fishing. It's a fucking way of fishing. I dare say we are going to get some line bites as well, which I'm sure you're going to see on the tip. There are fish moving about. It is quite shallow over there anyway, and there are fish moving about all over, so I'm pretty sure we're going to get some line bites. So I'm not going to tighten right up to the tip. As you can see, the tip is just about straight now. I'm just going to leave that. Any fish what goes to that pellet feeder, because it's such a small hole in the actual pellet feeder itself, it literally, for the fish to come in and suck those pellets, it's got to suck the hook bait in as well. But I'm going to kick off with 6mm hard pellet. A couple of tiny indications there, but I'm expecting that. Whether the fish are around the feeder or not, I don't know. There could be fish cruising about, but there we go. Look, that's pulling now. So there are signs of fish being there. It's not a rushed way of fishing. I'm just going to sit this out. I haven't gone mega tight to the island, but there are lots of F1's in here as well. And as we all know, 6mm pellet can be great for those. So I'm just going to keep building up that 6 metre pole line. There we go. We're getting indications there that there are some fish there. But I'm going to keep putting pellets in on that line. I'm not going to feed that too often because I don't want them up in the air. I want them down on the deck. I'm not going to feed my margin lines yet. That's going to be the second stage. Okay, so I've got right and left. I've got a rig that I've found the same depth left and right, so I can use the same rig. I'll talk you through the rigs and the pole set up on that when we go on those. But the rig that I've got set up for the 6 metre line is set at dead depth. No mistaking, just on. You know, you don't want to be picking up on those little indications. It's a self-fucking way of fishing. So you only pick up when you're sure that the fish is on. Not a big fish again. Swam virtually towards us that time. Another scrappy little, looks like an F1 this one. 6mm hard pellet again, size 16 hook. Lovely. Another little F1. That's hooked right on the inside of the mouth, that one, but slightly to the left hand side. Might need a disgorger on that one. That's really what this lake was all about at one stage, you know, it was all F1 fishing. But they have been catching some better carp apparently on certain pegs. Got the pellet bite that time as well. No need to change anything. That's 2 in 2 chucks now. So let's get back out there, see if we can catch another one. What will happen is, like I say, I can, on this clip that I've got, I've already checked that where it's clipped up now will take me perfectly to the right hand side of that island as well. So I have in effect got a second feeder swim if I need it, but at the moment I don't need it. Just clips at the edge of that overhang branch there, but I think we're alright. It's one of the great things with a pellet feeder. That's why you can put these, you can cast them tight to features into reeds, because everything's contained within the feeder. You haven't got hook ends hanging out and it's all protected. It can be a great method for fishing if you've got to go right into reed beds and things like that. We'll leave that. I think it's going alright. We'll soon find out, won't we? I'm not going to tighten up to it too much. You see, because I'm fishing in shallow water up there, my feeder is only that far underneath the surface. There we go. Indication straight away there. I'm not going to pick up on that. That could have been a fish. It could have been a bite, that, but because you're only fishing in that much water, it's deeper than that in the middle. So because we're high up here and we're in shallow water over there, your line is actually going through the top layers of the water, and that's where any fish cruising through this open water, that's the kind of depth that they're at. So if you tighten up to your feeder too much, just any sort of indication from passing fish as regards line bites and things, it's going to dislodge the feeder and move the feeder back towards you, and it interferes with the whole setup. So when it's like this, I like to just slack line it so that line sinks a little bit down away from them top layers, and it also means you're not seeing them little indications all the time. It just means when it does go like that, that it's a fish that's on. It's a brilliant way of fishing when it's right. So this is the 3rd in 3 chucks. Little F1, well, small fish anyway. Even smaller, this one. Look at that one. Little F1. Brilliant. Look at him. Lovely little F1. They're the lovely sort of pole fish that you can rack up some massive weights with on here. Super. Let's get him in. See if we can get another one. Still on the 6mm hard banded pellet. The geese have found us now, as you can hear them. Like a soundtrack from Jurassic Park. Let's go back to that same spot again. Just get that line down, out of the way. Fish there in the middle, shallow, as you can see. That was another fantastic pull round, no mistake in that. Just a really aggressive pull. Doesn't feel a really big fish, this one. Just on a single 6mm hard banded pellet, probably a little F1, I think. There we go. Another lovely fish now, it's a carp. Still very active. Quite a long fish actually, that one. Look how active he is. Oh, calm down mate, just hooked in the bottom lip. Right in the middle of the bottom lip. Some big scales on him, running down the top of his back. Still very active, let's pop him back. Well, I've just had 8 fish in 8 casts now. It's really working well, and I haven't had to go to that right side. I'm still getting indications now. I'm dying to have a go on this pole line. I've been priming it. So I'm going to catch one more fish on this line. There are still fish there. I'm still getting loads of indications. There we go. That's on. Probably another F1 again. But I haven't had to switch to the right hand side. If I was in a match, I'd stay on this line, but I'm dying to see if there are some fish on that pole line. So we'll just land this one, and then I'll show you my 6 metre line pole rig, and now I'm going to be fishing it. Well, the setup for the 6 metre line is, it's not very deep. I'm going to be fishing or kicking off with a banded 6mm pellet. That's what I've been feeding on that line. I haven't fed anything else, so I'm just going to be kicking off with one of those to a size 16, and then I've just got a spread of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stots just spread out like that. I can obviously bulk them together if need be, they move easily. And then the float it's a Dino float, it's a lunchy, 0.3 gram. Like I say, it's only about 4 foot deep, so don't need a really heavy float on. A nice buoyant tip on it because I might be fishing with corn as well, and that is just to obviously the Dacron, and then I've got orange slick in that. I think that's going to be alright for the size of fish that we're going to be catching, but that is obviously coupled with a side puller, so if there are bigger fish there than what I expect, then we should be okay because I've obviously got the side puller. I think that'll be alright. I've got stronger elastics with me if I need to step it up a bit. So I'm just going to kick off with a hard banded pellet. I don't think I'll need a pellet banding tool for these ones. There we go. Some pellets are a bit tricky if you are going to fish like this. A banding tool can be very, very useful, but with this setup I don't need one. So that's it. I'm just going to kick off with that, dead depth, and let's see if we can catch some fish. So I've got a toss pot on here, but I'm not going to be using that just yet. I have been loose feeding by hand. But if the loose feeding doesn't quite work, or I need to use the toss pot, then I'll start toss potting bait in onto this line. 1 or 2 bubbles coming up there as well, so I don't know if they're skimmers or whether they are carp. I know there are skimmers in here. It's just nice to see what reaction we get. I think the float's dotted down nicely. You should just be able to see that all right. It's not dotted down too much. It's a hard banded pellet. I am at dead depth. There's 1 or 2 little tiny bubbles coming up there, as you could probably see. Tiny bit of tow just to the left, but not too much to affect the presentation. There are fish there just under the surface, just could see that then round the float. They are obviously up in the water. There's fish topping everywhere now. Fishing shallow probably might be the best way to go, but I just want to try and catch them on the deck today. Obviously we'll be coming into the shallower water in a little while when I come down the margins. I think I'm just going to put some bait in, just a few pellets. There's about 8 6mm pellets there, so I'm just going to pop them in and then drop my rig in over the top and just see if that's going to be a better way of doing it today. Nice little tight grouping of bait, and then follow them down. Tiny indication there, nothing there. Could be some liners. I might have to make 1 or 2 alterations, but getting signs that there's 1 or 2 fish there now anyway, which is a good thing. Yeah, there are fish there, fish around the bait. Well, I can't believe we haven't had a single fish on that. That's unbelievable. So what I'm going to do now is, before I go on, start looking down my margins, I'm going to have a go at just big potting on this line. It's a bit of a throwaway tactic now. It's not working. What I'm doing now is all the fish are up in the water. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to get the big pot and I'm going to pot quite a bit of corn in, just on that line, just to put a volume of bait down on the bottom, put a few pellets in there as well, just to see if it's going to give a fish a reason just to go down there and have a bit of a nosy. Just as a last ditch attempt at trying to catch a fish on this line. So I'll just have a go at big potting it on here, just a bit of a throwaway measure now, and then we'll think about looking down the margins where I'm sure we're going to catch some fish either left or right. There we go. I won't be surprised if we see some bubbles and things coming up on that. Normally I'd leave that for a few minutes, but I'm going to go straight over the top of it with a grain of corn on. We'll see if we can snare one. There are fish again there, just under the surface. I think it really is a shallow day today, but we'll see if we can catch one on this. We made our bed on this line. I don't want to go chasing shallow fish now, because I'm more interested now in these margins if this line isn't going to work. There we go. How about that? Just a little lift. Only lifted it about 4 inch. Just lifted it up off the bottom and just lowered it back down again. Single grain of corn. Sometimes just by putting that volume of bait in, just like we do when we're feeder fishing in deep water, by putting a volume of bait in, it can just give a fish a reason just to go down for a nosy. Sometimes if there's only a few bits of bait down there, it's hardly worth their effort. Well, that elastic seems alright for this sort of fish anyway. Don't know if I'll have to use the side puller on this one. I think I'm going to be alright. I haven't got margin lines fed yet, so I'm not too concerned about ruining those lines. But it's getting to that time now. We've spent quite a while. Spoke too soon on that one, didn't I? Got the rig back though, everything's alright. Just pulled out of it, that's all. Maybe pulling a little bit too hard. But hopefully that might have just, you know, that extra bait going in on the deck might allow us to catch 1 or 2 fish on this line before we go down this margin. It was a positive bite, no messing. I'm sure it was upright. I wouldn't have said it was foul hooked, but just lifted it about 4 inch off the bottom and lowered it back down again. So let's just see if we can repeat it, see if we can get another one. No indication there, nothing there. Keep seeing the odd boil there. There are still fish up in the water. It's definitely a day to be fishing shallow today. Hopefully they're going to come down this margin so we can catch them in this slightly shallower water. There we go. How about that? Just that little change in feeding's obviously made a little bit of a difference. But it looks like just by putting that little bit of a volume of bait down, it's just giving them a reason just to go down and have a look. It's really a shallow day today, you know, we should be fishing shallow. It's really gone warm now. It's gone quite humid as well. There are fish up in the water everywhere, but it's nice when you make a little change like that and it hooks you a couple of fish. This one's fighting a little bit harder, it's further down the peg, this one down to the left. So this elastic's it's certainly strong enough to control these fish. I've got a feeling it's going to be a carp. Seems really slow. Too slow to be an F1. Snared him, first scoop. He's a much better fish than I thought. Look at him, that's what we're all about. Beautiful chunky fish, that one. That's a lot heavier than what I thought. I had no idea it was that size when I first hooked him. Still very, very lively, shaking the hook out. See if I could just hold him up for you. Oh, much bigger fish than I thought. It just shows you that elastic, it could tame these fish. Let's see if there's some more down there. I'm going to put another pot of bait in. I don't want to leave this line now. I'm dying to look at these margins and start setting them up. I haven't fed them yet. But what I am going to do is I'm going to put another pot of corn in. There's about 25 pieces there, I would say, and about a dozen 6mm hard pellets. Just big potting it in again, bang on the same spot, and I'll go in again with a single grain of corn and see if we can get another one. Make a little bit of a noise as they go in, signal to them, ring the dinner bell. Just check the rig. One of those stots has come off, I think. We'll see if we can catch one more fish on this line. And then I'm going to set up and prime my 2 margin swims. I've got a different rig for that, which I'll show you. So I'm going to feed left and right, slightly different from each other. But we'll see if we can snare one more on this line before I prime those lines. I'll just lower that rig down again. Again, some bubbles coming up now. I've just fed it. Getting bubbles again, and the fish rooting about in that silt, that soft bottom. There we go. Oh, it's a flying skimmer. Well, they could be responsible for all those bubbles. We see that a lot of commercials. The bubbles tend to be, it can be the skimmers what are blowing. But there we go, we got another fish on it. So that's three fish in 3 casts. Well, we've hooked 3 in 3 casts, and it's very rough fish as well. This one, it's obviously spawning. But there we go, nice little skimmer. Now I'm going to feed the margins lines now, so let me show you how I'm going to do that. So because this is a bit of a pleasure session, all I'm going to do is I'm going to feed pellet at one side and I'm going to feed corn at the other. I can obviously try different hook baits on each line, but it might just highlight a pattern. Now, what I have got to say is what really surprised me was how deep these margins are. You can't get anywhere where it's really shallow. Now, I could fish in front of the platform to the next peg, but I don't want to do that. I want to see if we can catch them in this slightly deeper water. As you can see there, it's probably got to be 2.5 foot, which is deeper than what I wanted, but I'm going to try it and see what happens. We might get line bites, we might not catch, we might catch, we don't know. So I'm going to feed pellet to the left and corn to the right. So I'm going to prime these lines now. I'm going to give them 10 minutes before I go on them. It's the right time of day. So I'm going to feed pellet. There's about 25 6mm pellets there, okay, just in a big pot, and I'm going to pop that down here to my left. I'm not going too far away, I've got loads of room here, so I could go right further down, but I don't like doing that because, you know, I like to make a little bit of a challenge of it and try and catch a little bit closer. So I'm just going to put that where I plumbed up, which is just there. Okay, it's 2.5 feet deep, so I might see fish there if there are fish there, but it is a little bit deep, that, but I'm sure I'll see something to signal that there are 1 or 2 fish there. So there's 25 6mm pellets gone in there, and again I'm going to put about another 25 pieces of corn in to my right hand swim. That's it. Just keep it nice and simple. We might highlight, you know, that one works better than the other. They might both work. So I'll just put that one in there. And these spots that I'm fishing, these spots that I've decided to fish are both exactly the same depth, so I can use the same rig. I've got the same orange slick elastic, size 16 hook. I'm using the ready tied ones, so it's size 16 of 6 inch, 15 centimetre hook length, and these are to 0.18 hook length, which is a little bit stronger than what I wanted, but I didn't really know I was coming today, so I've just grabbed them out of the bag, and it'll be interesting to see if they work. So I'm going to give these swims 10 minutes now. I'll keep looking for signs of fish, and hopefully when we go down these edges there's going to be some fish waiting for us. Well, it's been 20 minutes now since I fed these 2 margins. I'm going to have a look. I haven't seen any signs of any fish, but like I say, it is about 2.5 feet deep, which is deeper than I ideally would have wanted. Ideally something like, I don't know, 18 inch, something like that might have been nice, but I can get shallow water in front of the platform, but I don't want to do that because I want to see if we can catch here, because there might be occasions when you're faced with a peg like this that's a little bit deeper and we might find a better way of feeding it. So I'm going to try it. I'm going to start off with a piece of corn on the left hand swim. That's the one that I've only fed pellets in, and I've only been feeding corn to my right. So I'm just going to top the right hand swim up. And let's see if we can just get any sort of indication down this side. Like I say, I haven't seen a fish. I'm going to lay the rig in kind of up the slope, if that makes sense, just to see if that works. I think the float might just be alright with a grain of corn. We'll find out if it's shotted down alright. I don't want it to I don't want it dotted down too much, because if there are fish there, well, there we go, that was a little tiny indication straight away there, but if there are fish there, it's inevitable they're going to be touching the line and that sort of thing, so I don't really want to be hitting them little indications. So I've got quite a bit of float showing. It's a buoyant float. I just picked up there's nothing there, but it's a buoyant float, and I've really had to do that. I've kind of done it so that, obviously I'm fishing corn anyway, I might fish double corn as well, so you want something that's a bit buoyant, but I want it to be nice and visible on the camera for you. I think that might just need another stot on it, to be fair, but I'm going to fish it out. Nope, nothing there, so all I'm going to do is I'm just going to feed it with a few pellets and have a look on this right hand swim. Just going to lay that rig down the slope. I haven't seen any signs of fish on this right hand swim either. There we go, nice clean bite. Oh, he's off. Very fast, really shot out the peg, that one. Don't know if it was hooked right or not, but it was very, very fast, as you saw. It tore off. That's alright, it's a good sign that there's 1 or 2 fish there anyway. So I'm just going to feed that again, leave that alone, and go back to this left hand swim and see if we can catch one there. lay that rig in so the hook bait's gone away from me. There we go, just waited a little bit before I picked up. But it's a decent fish. Obviously went out the peg into the deeper water. One thing I can do if I wish, because of the way I'm fishing, I can feed that line now with my left hand and try and set it up for the next fish. After that first run it seems to have gone quite heavy now, that fish, but I'm going to feed that line. Get it set up for the next fish. Let's have a look at him. I think this elastic's controlling him alright. I didn't know if this was going to be a little bit strong, this orange, today, but I wasn't really sure what fish we were going to be after. Yep, it's a carp. There we go, lovely. The planes are going over again. He's still got plenty of energy left in him. That's what can happen sometimes if you manage to land them quickly. They've still got lots of energy left in them. Let's hold him up for you so you can get an idea of the stamp. Probably £4, a bit more maybe, 4.5. Lovely hard fighting fish. Let's see if there's some more there. So what I'll do now, I've just fed that line as I was playing that fish. I've fed that line again, so I'm going to leave that and go to my right swim and see if I can catch one there. Just a single grain of corn. Just top that up again. Just a few pellets just to set it up ready for next time. I'll see if we can get one from this right hand swim now. Flick that rig past and then I'll bring it back. You know, again I'm about 3 inch over depth. There we go, straight away. Oh, this one's trying to get up the bank, this one. He's really going under. There we go, he's out into the open water. Not as big, this one. But at the moment it looks like we might have 2 active lines now, which is absolutely ideal. Little F1. Hooks come out in the net. Brilliant, lovely fish. So as it's just a session, let's see if we can rotate it again. So we'll put a few grains of corn on that right hand swim. And see if we can get one from the left one again. Flick that rig past again and bring it back towards me. See if there's one down there waiting for us. There we go. Another very fast bite. I'm guessing this is going to be an F1 again. But we've now got 2 lines which are working now. Brilliant. It's amazing how many times, you know, you'll have two lines, or you're fishing 2 sides, and you can only catch on one of them. I mean, we're fishing different baits on each one today, but we have got 2 lines now that are working. Only a little F1, but it's good because it's putting fish in the net, and it means we're rotating the lines. So I'm going to feed that line again. Deliberately, I'm not feeding it tight. You know, I don't want them in one tight area. I know I could kinder pot it and all that business, toss pot it, but I don't want to do that today, you know. Let's see if we can get one from this right hand swim now. There we go. Very quick bite again. Probably another little F1, I think. But that's it. We've got 2 swims now, very active. Which is the ideal scenario. Well, the ideal scenario is to catch on one all day, but let's be honest, how often does that happen? There we go, another little F1. Brilliant. But this really is a fantastic complex. I remember coming here when it first opened years and years ago, and it's amazing how it's grown since then. There are so many different lakes, and as you can see, they're absolutely stuffed with fish. I'll put the link directly underneath here for you if anybody wants to check the fishery out and learn more about it. But it's been a great session, a great commercial carp session. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and please consider subscribing just there. And if you want to see more tuition coaching style videos, please check out my other channel, Patron TV, at the link just there. So thanks for watching, really appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you all next time.